I just want to say welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for one of our events here at UF during Fulbright Awareness Month. My name's Kelly Medley, and I actually oversee the Fulbright US student program here at UF, among many, many other awards through the Office of Prestigious Awards. I'm excited to hear from Lisa today. She's with the Fulbright Commission. I'll do a little bit more of a formal introduction of her in just a moment. But this will be exciting because she's going to talk about opportunities that are actually relevant to both students and faculty, which is really a nice sort of change up, I think, from many of our programs that we have during the month that are either all student or all faculty focused. So this should be a really, really nice mix. So thank you everyone for joining. I should mention the reason I'm here today is because I'm also one of the faculty members who serves on the Fulbright Lecture Committee here at UF. We're a group that meets monthly and helps with many of the lecture events, seeking speakers, planning, providing introductions of our wonderful speakers, for example. But that is the role that I'm here as a facilitator in today and representing that committee. Dr. Anumba is also here, and Mabel Kardec, and I'm kind of going through just quickly, I'm sorry if I miss anybody. They are also sitting members of that committee who, as many of us faculty will attest, are really the true ones doing all the work behind the scenes. So we thank them always for their efforts and for being here as well today. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Lisa and let her get along with her presentation. Lisa Sadler is the Director of Awards at the Fulbright Commission in the United Kingdom. Lisa joined the Fulbright Commission in March 2022 and was initially the US Program Manager. After providing maternity cover for the director role and stepping into the newly created Head of Special Projects for 4 months, Lisa returned to the director role from January 2024. This includes managing the awards team and the relations with UK awards, award sponsors and partners. Lisa herself has a bachelor's degree in English from Leeds and a master's in social anthropology from SOAS in London. Before joining the commission, Lisa spent 5 years teaching English at university level and lived in Mexico for 3 years. She also has over 20 years of experience working in international recruitment for UK universities. Very excited. I actually just so happen to not have put away many things. So yes, love all of our UK university recruiters that pop by UF from time to time. In her spare time, Lisa also enjoys spending time walking her dogs. If you signed on early, you saw one of them already. Maybe they'll appear again. And also she loves to work on continuing to improve what she self-describes as her very poor Spanish. So with that said, Lisa, I'll turn it over to you, but please let me know if you have any questions. I'll keep an eye on the chat as well. So for those of you watching, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll certainly have time for some Q&A later as well. So Lisa.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you for that introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope it is afternoon, isn't it? It is where I am. I'm absolutely delighted to join you as part of your Fulbright Awareness Month. As Kelly said, my name is Lisa Sadler, and I serve as Director of Awards at the US-UK Commission in London. I'm going to spend 35 minutes talking through some of the key programs that we have, the opportunities for US applicants, both students and faculty, and some other Fulbright opportunities, maybe for the university as a whole. But before that, I was going to just very quickly say a few words around the Commission, who we are, and the impact of some of our awards. And as Kelly said, there will be time for questions, and I will put up a few call to actions as well. So to start us off, a bit of context. We have just celebrated our 75th anniversary as we were set up in the aftermath of the Second World War. And of course, you are all in the US so aware of the prestige and the awareness of the brand as a whole. But we are a little bit different in London. There are 150 Fulbright programs in total. There are 49 commissions, but we are one of only a handful who have legal autonomy, which means that we can actually do lots of really exciting stuff that I'm going to share with you. We're one of the biggest commissions. We have 28 members of staff, and our mandate essentially is like my second bullet point, to enable study, teaching, research through scholarships, advice, coaching, and experiential learning. We are the only, I'm very proud to say this, we're one of the only bilateral exchange programs, scholarship programs in the UK. You have a lot that are just one-sided. And we essentially have something like 300 individuals cross the Atlantic each year. The Commission is home to the Education USA program. It's also home to the US program for the Sutton Trust, which is a social mobility program. And we offer opportunities for people between the ages of 17 and 75, which I think is really exciting. Age is no barrier. We have something like 25,000 alumni, and some of our famous faces are on the left there. You can see I'm so pleased and proud that Sylvia Plath is one of ours, and also our Prime Minister, our current Prime Minister. And like I said, it's more than prestige and academic excellence. Our vision really is to unblock some of those barriers around learning and to create compassionate individuals, but also communities with a sense of purpose. So moving on then, I wanted to talk just very briefly about impact, because we've done a lot of work to measure impact. We've held some focus groups, we've surveyed some of our grantees and alumni, and we've worked with one of our partners, Elsevier, who are a data analytic company and also sponsor one of our awards, who've done some work with scholars. And they have, as these quotes, there's just some highlights here, talking about the impact not only on individuals in terms of their own knowledge base, but also scholars in terms of their publications, and then the impact in terms of the benefits that has been brought back to home institutions by faculty. So I think it's really exciting. Now, Donald, here's your reference. I'm quoting you without even realizing you are at UF. So I hope you don't mind me using your words, but this is one of my favorite quotes. And so I use it, you're with me in a lot of my presentations, that everybody should have a Fulbright experience, because the world would undoubtedly be a better and more tolerant place if they did. And my time in the UK transformed my professional and personal life. I'm deeply grateful for having had the opportunity. Okay, so what are the opportunities? So I've got now 5 slides where I'm going to whiz through the different opportunities for students, faculty, and the university. So the first one is for US applicants. I think it's the program that is most synonymous with the Fulbright program. So it's the US postgraduate program, which we offer in conjunction with the IIE. And this is then the opportunity to come to the UK for 1 year to study either a UK master's or to start a research degree. And we have in total 45, which is one of the biggest programs, 45 UK universities who partner with us on awards. And then we have 1 open award. Now, in terms of those 45 partners, there are different types of awards. So some can be very specialized. To give you an example, Manchester Metropolitan have an award in creative writing. Some are more open. You can come and study any masters at the university. And the university then waives the tuition fee and provides a living stipend. The open award is really for any course at a university that it doesn't partner with us. And here we offer the living stipend only. Now, the competition is actually open at the moment for 2025-26 entry. Universities in the UK start in September. And the competition for 25-26 closes mid-October. I think there's a common misconception around the UK postgraduate program that it's closed for business, it's highly competitive, nobody's going to succeed. And I just want to dispel that a bit, because I think there are awards which are very competitive. And you think about the universities where students from the US, or cities where students from the US really want to go and study. But there are also a number of awards which only get a handful of applications each year. So I would really say, take your time, research. If there are universities you've never heard of, look into them, because they might be a good fit for you. If you want some more information, there is a US Student Overview webinar on the 3rd of April that's hosted by the IIE. And the IIE also have Europe and Eurasia office hours. So these are every fortnight on a Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The next program. So this is really aimed at people on the first year of their bachelor's degree. So this is our UK Summer Institutes program. We've just closed the program and are selecting interview candidates for 2024, summer 2024. So what I'm going to be talking about now is our program starting in 2025. So this is the opportunity for around 40 students to come and spend between 2 and 4 weeks at a UK university on one of our summer school programs. We partner with 8 universities currently, and this gives students the opportunity to explore UK culture and history, whilst also getting a taste of what it's like to study at a university in the UK. So our competition will open in November 2024 for summer 2025, and we will be having some webinars to give out more information in December 2024. So for faculty, opportunities for faculty. We have a program around 20 places. We work with 20 UK universities to host a US scholar or a distinguished scholar. And again, this is in conjunction with the IIE. So it's the opportunity to research, lecture, and in some cases teach in a UK university. And like the US postgraduate program, there are different types of awards. Some are very specialized. So for example, Lancaster, that is looking for a researcher within the STEM fields, but some are open to any research area that the university offers. Awards are between 3 and 12 months in total. The competition is open now and it closes in September. And again, there's a webinar taking place with the IIE on the 23rd of May. Okay, the last program, and I think this is probably the most exciting, if I'm allowed to say that. Something that we're really, really proud of is our Global Challenges Teaching Award. We've just opened the second round, and that closes on the 29th of April. So this really is where we support pairs of teaching faculty to co-deliver virtual exchange, a virtual exchange program for undergraduate students. And this really is about bridging the gap that can be created by traditional exchange programs and the fact that they're not always accessible to all. So, and that has then a greater impact. So it's a year-long program. We use the COIL model, the Collaborative Online International Learning Model, to work with pairs of faculties, and we are, for this round, supporting 4 pairs. So 1 in racial justice, 1 working on climate change, 1 working on inequality, and 1 on polarization and division. And we do this is a UK Commission initiative purely, and we do this with the AAC and you. So during the year, you work together. There's there's a matching activity, there's a virtual orientation training, and then site visits as well. So as I said, the program closes on the 29th of April, and there is more information at a webinar on the 26th of March. But we also have, which I would strongly encourage people, if you're interested, go onto our website and listen to the Fulbright Conversations. It's a podcast that we've made in-house, talking to some of our Global Challenge scholars. So there's a fantastic one on climate change, which was in round 1. We have an academic from Cardiff and an academic from Shenandoah, and they talk about their experiences on the program and the impact it's had on their students. So the last slide really is around other opportunities for the university very quickly. So an open invitation to come and join us. Myself and Jess, who's in my team, she's the head of special projects, will both be at NAFSA in May, and we'll be hosting a partnership reception for our UK and US partners, and also contributing to the Fulbright training session on the 30th of May. We've then been running some online partnership workshops. We had one in January, and we're going to run another one shortly, so we would welcome US involvement in that. And then lastly, around hosting. Consider hosting a UK scholar. We already host a UK postgraduate student through the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, so there's opportunities to have conversations around hosting in another college. And then the opportunity to host a scholar in residence. So this is where, through the IIE, if you're looking to host a UK academic expert on campus, you apply through them for that. So my last slide is a call to action. So if you're interested in anything that I've spoken about, a couple of calls to action for you. So look on our website, .org.uk, for more information on all of those different programs. Register for those webinars, listen to the podcast, and if you want any more information, you can either email Fulbright programs at fulbright.org.uk, which is my team, or email me, lisa@fulbright.org.uk. Thank you so much for listening and for taking up what I believe is your lunch hour. It's been great presenting to you, and now I really do welcome any questions that you may have, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I appreciate that. That's a lot of programs to cover in 20 minutes. So I'm actually really, really impressed with how you managed to do that.
I'm impressed at myself that I only took 20 minutes. I thought I was going to be a lot longer. So please, but that's great because it means there's more time for you guys to ask me anything you would like.
And feel free, unmute. I was gonna say unmute, and if anybody is kind of like, mouthful and wants to put anything in the chat, I'm happy to ask the question for you too, but please.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to be very British and drink my tea whilst we're...
Are there any scones with your tea for today?
Don't mention cake or scones because that's encouraging me.
Well, my name is Lee Purvis, and I'm a faculty member in the school psychology graduate department here at UF, and I thank you for this talk. My question is regarding the Global Challenges Teaching Award. That's the year-long model with the 4 topics. And so how does that pairing happen? Is that something, do we need to find a colleague in the UK to present one of those topics, or is that we just apply and then that happens after?
Yeah, thank you so much for your question, Lee. Lovely to meet you, and thank you for listening. Great question, and apologies if I wasn't clear on that. No, the matching actually happens from us. So you just apply as a singular faculty member, and we then will pair you with a UK. If you're successful, we will then pair you with someone in the UK. And we typically, and again, I'm going to go back to my climate change podcast. What was really fascinating is we paired a glaciologist with someone who works in law, but is a wildlife. She focuses on wildlife protection, and they were working on a climate change module together. So completely two, you would not put those two together at all, but it made for an absolutely fascinating pairing.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Lee.
There are a few questions in the chat, and one I answered, but I'm wondering if you have any like sort of more to add to it. So the original question is, are non-tenure track faculty allowed to apply for any of the faculty programs? I know the answer is absolutely yes to that, but I was wondering, do you have any maybe specific programs that you would highlight as maybe better or geared towards, you know, non-tenure track or even early career faculty? Specifically?
No, we don't make the distinction. We wouldn't make the distinction on either the scholar programs. Our distinguished scholar, some of our distinguished scholars, they are more for faculty that have experience. But certainly the scholar program and the global challenges, no, that's not it. And in fact, we would really encourage, we want to get early careers through the doors. So yeah, strong encouragement for those two.
Great, wonderful. And then another question has come up. Are any of the programs discipline specific? So this particular faculty member mentions that they're in geography, but also have an affiliation in African American studies. So are there any specific like awards that you have that would be, you know, off the top of your head? Again, I know you said 150 programs, you know, so off the top of your head, you know, are there any that are specific? I know that sometimes, at least in the student program, you know, one partner university might be limited only to the humanities or only to theater or only in STEM, you know, disciplines. But
yes, so
yeah.
as I was saying, both with the US postgraduate and the US scholar programs, you will find there are specific awards where they ask, like you said, I mentioned who did I mention? Manchester Metropolitan, sorry. Manchester Metropolitan with creative writing. We have Trinity Laban, which is music and dance. But they tend to be less common than the more open. I'm struggling to think if there are any specifically in geography. However, like I was saying in my answer to Lee, we are really interested in the sort of interdisciplinary, and we welcome people who are working, you know, coming at things from different angles, working on a specific issue, not just in global challenges, but just across the whole piece. People who are working, maybe coming at something from a very different perspective, working on a problem. So I can't think of anything geography specific or African American studies at the moment, but there are plenty of awards that if the university offers that, they would be eligible to apply for that.
And then this is kind of a multi-part question. So I will sort of respond just generally to say we are recording this. So the recording of both Lisa's presentation and even this Q&A session is going to be made available. Mabel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it'll be on UFIC's YouTube channel at minimum, but if not in a few other spaces as well. But one other kind of follow-up question with that is, are there any newsletters or listservs with which to keep up to date with programs and deadlines? And Lisa, I'll give you another little tea break there and highlight just some internal UF opportunities. And Mabel, you can pop in as well, because these are more your shop than mine. But I will say that at least, you know, the faculty newsletter that UFIC sends out every Monday, every 2 Mondays in the summer months, typically always has Fulbright information in it more broadly, but also, you know, if any of the different UK commissions contact. I know, they highlight some different things in there. So there's always Fulbright information in that particular newsletter. I'm selfishly going to mention, for any students who are on the call or any faculty here who also want to encourage their students to partake in some of the more student-focused offerings. I will actually put my office's website as well as Instagram account on there, because that seems to work better for students. So I will do that because there are a lot of different programs and deadlines. The Scholar program, which would send our, faculty here who are US citizens abroad to the UK, has a very different timeline than our US student programs do, which is a very different timeline from the summer institutes for the first and second year undergraduates. So, and of course, we have campus deadlines for some of those things ahead of what the national deadlines may be as well. Mabel, are there any other resources that you, or even Claire, want to highlight at UF internally before I turn that over to Lisa?
I just shared the YouTube page for the International Center.
Wonderful.
All of our, I will say maybe 5 years back, all other conferences and workshops that we have recorded are there. And also I put my email address if you would like to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. In months like this, usually March or April or part of both months are dedicated to Fulbright awareness, and you will receive a lot of information on everything that is happening. Actually, we are bombarding our newsletter with all those events that are coming up. For example, this week we have a Fulbright Spring Lecture. It will be this Thursday from 11:30 to 1. And it will be one of our visiting scholars, Fulbright scholars from Cameroon, and he is going to be talking about a news freedom and topics related to that from of interest for people in journalism and things like that. But if you would like to subscribe, we have a lot of information in our webpage as well.
Also, if anybody's interested in the recording, they can contact me once it's edited. I'll forward it to them.
Correct.
And Lisa, UK Commission specifically. Yeah, I know you have your own Instagram because my office follows it.
Oh, great. So I just put our web address in the chat because there is a way to sign up to our newsletter there. And then also we have all our social handles at the top of the page as well. So you can follow us on the different social media channels.
Fantastic.
And Kelly, one last, I'm so sorry.
No, go for it.
Someone has a question. If anyone is interested in any type of Fulbright program to be brought to your departments or your colleges, please contact one of us. We can always go to your specific offices and share whatever information you need from Fulbright.
Mm.
And also, don't cancel class. I would love to come speak to your students. So if you have plans to be at a conference or something like that, yeah, I always say, don't cancel class, call me. I can speak Fulbright or an introduction to my office or many, many other things. I will get to the other questions that are still in the chat, but Don, why don't you take it away with a question?
So hey there, Lisa, good to meet you.
Hi, Dan. Don, so nice to put a face to the quote, and I so hope you don't mind me quoting you on all my presentations.
No, absolutely, because it's 100% true. I mean, I still feel that way. It was a fantastic experience, and it's just borne so much fruit in my personal and professional life. It's just it's hard to even sort of wrap your head around how much it sort of changed things. But I had a quick question about the Fulbright Specialist Program. Does the U.S. UK Commission, are they involved in that? Do you host specialists as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do both, going both ways. And the incoming, so the specialists that are coming into the UK, that is run out of our office. We actually we we encourage UK universities to look at the specialist list, and then we then select their project. So we typically host, I think it's around 3 or 4 a year, whereas with the outgoing, so the experts that are going from the UK to the US universities have to apply into the IIE, and we then get involved, but later in the process.
Gotcha. And those are, is it the same for, I assume for the UK, it's what, anywhere between 2 weeks and 6 weeks, something like that is usually the placement period?
It's something like, they work it out in days. I think it's 14 to 42 days.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Good to know. Thanks.
Are you going to apply for the expert list?
I did. I put in, I'm in the
Nice.
system. I'm in the system now. I had some
Ooh.
folks from Croatia that are interested in having me come there for a little while, but I was wondering, because once you're in the system, then you potentially what you propose, you know, because I propose something that could be delivered elsewhere as well. So yeah, and there's lots of folks that I still work with in the UK, and some of it might be apropos to some of the universities there. So
Great.
I'm
Well,
in the
do let us know if you come over to the UK. Well, we'll see your name, but do
well, I
reach
do a
out to
study
us
abroad there,
individually.
so I'm there every year now.
Oh,
Partly,
you
yeah.
must come and visit us.
Yeah, oh,
You
definitely.
must.
I'll be
It's an
there
open
in June. I'll be in
invitation.
London for a few days in June at the beginning, and I do that my study abroad. One of the folks that co-instructors is now at Teesside University, was my postdoc who I met when I was on my Fulbright. So as soon as I got back from my Fulbright, he graduated, contacted me, came over to the US for 2 years, did a postdoc. Now he's at Teesside. We continue to collaborate on research, and now we do a big study abroad course in the UK. So that's just one of the outputs of my Fulbright.
And I'd be very interested in speaking to that person, because I'm trying to encourage more UK scholars and students from some of the kinds of universities like Teesside. So maybe we can take this offline. Well, come and visit us in June, and then I can tap your brain.
Yeah.
I'm happy to connect the two of you as well. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Dawn. Good question, actually, about the specialist program. That wasn't one I had considered. Lisa, again, I kind of know the answer for this one, but I would love, again, to hear your take on it as the director of awards. So Carly asks, is the postgraduate program only open to students who are coming directly out of undergrad, or can they apply a year or two after earning their bachelor's?
No, and we regularly have maybe 2 or 3 or 4 that, no, I'd say more than that. We usually have a number who have maybe gone and worked for a couple of years. In fact, and I referenced earlier in my presentation that we offer awards to people between the ages of 17 and 75. So one of our postgrad alums for the Leicester Award was 75 when she came on her postgraduate program. So she was not fresh out of, well, she could have been, but she wasn't.
Right.
She wasn't. So definitely not.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, in fact, we have a semifinalist right now, who applied for one of the partner awards in the UK, who graduated just 3 or 4 years ago, I believe. And yeah, so hopefully we'll hear good news from you all for him soon enough. But okay, I think that I want to make sure I covered everyone, but I do think that's all the questions in the chat. Oh, Samuel Johnson, we have a raised hand there. Please take it away.
Hello.
I recognize your face. I did not recognize your name, but now I recognize you. Hey there.
I do have kind of a question on the summer school program. So this summer, I'm going to be at the London School of Economics for their summer school program. But of course, I didn't notice that this was a program until after I applied and the deadline passed. So is this is this available to, first of all, like next year I'll be a third-year student. So is it available for that? And also, is it available, like, because next year I'm also graduating just in 3 years. So would that be available to me because I'll have already graduated? I'm planning on doing applying for my master's program through Fulbright to try and study in the UK as well. But I'm wondering on the summer school part.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for your question, Samuel. So in terms of eligibility for the summer schools, the first thing would be that students need to be coming back for a minimum of 2 years studying on their undergrad. So my conversation to you is around the 2025 program. So you would basically, in September or fall of 2025, you would need to have 2 more years to complete. But also a big part of the eligibility is one of the things that we're really trying to do is encourage students who've never studied outside of the States, maybe never traveled outside of the States. And so they would be our main kind of focus, if you like. But it's great that you're coming to LSE. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy, make the most of your experience. And come and look us up. Come to the commission office. It's an open invitation. We love it when people drop in.
Some savor that. All right. Any other questions for Lisa? We do have some time, but
I guess for the faculty awards, and I know there's a difference with the scholar awards versus the awards for the Global Challenge Teaching Awards, but what will make for a competitive application, or are there things that I should maybe looking into as an early career faculty member and stuff now?
This is a great question, Lee, and I thought this would be the first question out of the box, actually. Do you know, I think that the answer that I'm going to say is just one sentence, and I know this is very difficult, but for any of our awards, tell your story. Tell your story. There is no right or wrong answer. It's about your journey, your story, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. And then as a caveat, follow the application guidelines. Because it's amazing how many people don't. So I think those two things.
Thank you.
I always like to hammer home eligibility first. The applications are long. And so the worst thing to do would be to put so much time and effort into them and then unfortunately not be eligible, on one small thing towards the end.
Exactly. And so, for example, summer institutes, we ask for 2 letters of recommendation. It's amazing how many people we disqualify and have to disqualify because they submit 1. They may have been with a really great chance of getting a place. So yeah, really read the guidelines and follow them.
A note on that, I do want to say, since we are both here, and I may have mentioned this earlier, but so I am Kelly and I oversee the Fulbright US student program. So that would be here at UF. So that would be for anyone who is interested, students at whatever level, currently going over to the UK for one of those postgraduate degrees or to conduct research. I'm the contact for that. And then Dr. Clara Numba is here as well. She is my counterpart who oversees the Fulbright US Scholar Program. Her office is in UFIC in the International Center. So we are not in the same locations or in the same offices, but do work very closely together. I don't think there's a week that goes by that Claire and I aren't sending one person or another to each other just to get everybody into the right place. So there are a lot of Fulbright programs. So that said, if anybody, does have any confusion of which one and which deadlines and timelines and website they're supposed to be operating with, contact one of us as early as you can. And even if we're not the right one, we all know all the players and can get you to the right person to make sure you're getting the correct information communicated to you.
And just to back up, Kelly, what you've just said, I would strongly encourage, if you have advisors, use them.
Oh, and Claire and I have a long list that we keep and collaborate on of our wonderful past Fulbrighters that we certainly refer students and fellow faculty to as well for assistance in the process. In fact, I actually just found out only 2 weeks ago, I don't know, maybe some other people knew this, but our new provost was actually a Fulbright scholar to the UK in the past.
Oh.
I only found that out when he was speaking at our Fulbright, our annual Fulbright reception this year. So Claire, I don't know if you knew that already, but I was like, oh, he needs to go on mine and Claire's list.
And so is his wife. She's been
Yeah,
twice.
yeah.
What is the name of your new provost, Kelly?
He goes by his middle name, which is Scott. So Dr. Scott Angle. I know his first initial is actually J, though I don't know what that maybe stands for. But yeah, but that was exciting to find out, and we'll see if we can snag him for those student interviews come September this year. Right, any other questions? Go for it, Samuel. This is your time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess this is kind of like for both of you. And I'll be working with you, Kelly, like much more, I'm assuming, but what is kind of like an ideal timeline for an application for like a postgraduate program? You know, I'm obviously not gonna like start doing this like right up to the deadline, and I know that I'm gonna be, you know, working with you, soon around like April-ish. But I was kind of wondering what is ideal.
Yeah, well, I will go ahead and say one thing, Samuel. The Fulbright US student application doesn't open this year until April 2nd. And so if you're also poking around on the Fulbright US student webpage, that information is all for everyone who applied last year. So that information also won't update until April 2nd. So is it worth kind of taking a look right now? Sure, but do so with a grain of salt. Always make sure, you know, that you want to reconfirm eligibility. Things change. I know you were at the St. Andrews presentation we had a few weeks ago. I know he said that their grant, for example, and what degrees they actually fund through their partnership award is changing this upcoming year. I think encompassing a lot more programs. So like I said, you know, things are always subject to change. So it could be a good to look at now, but reconfirm come, you know, April 2nd or so. And as you know, Samuel, I know you've heard me say this a few times, but for any other students, and again, for faculty who may have students interested, I will do a Fulbright info session pretty much every day somewhere in the month of April. So every business day in April, I am somewhere on this campus doing an info session and you know, offer some on Zoom as well. If you already know you want to apply and you have a good general idea, you know, I would suggest probably attending one of the ones that are more geared towards specific grants. So I'll do ones that are specific just to folks who are interested in the graduate study awards. I'll do one for folks who are interested just in the English teaching awards as well. I also do general overview ones. So, you know, a refresher is never bad. But actually at that point, yeah, we really hit the ground running. All the work basically happens over the summer. We do not have a campus deadline set just yet for this upcoming year. We're still waiting for a few things to happen. You know, worst case scenario, the earliest it's going to be is kind of the same that it always is, which is the week or so before fall semester starts here at UF. Yeah, you know, which does surprise some people. But we just have a large volume of applicants. And so that's how we help them out and get everything in ship shape before that national deadline, which this year is October 8th. And then interestingly enough, and Lisa, you can probably back this up to some degree, usually it's sometime just after that Fulbright national deadline that the graduate programs actually open up their applications. So you'll actually apply to Fulbright to fund, you know, the postgraduate study before you can even apply for the graduate course itself.
Yes, that's exactly correct. And I would add in to what Kelly has said, that the earlier you start, the better, I think. It's really not an application to just do the week before the deadline. You give yourself plenty of time, give yourself time to contact your references, and to make sure, like we've said, that you've checked the eligibility criteria, you have all the documents, you've clearly articulated your narrative. What I said to Lee, you've clearly articulated your journey and story.
I think that's good advice for the faculty too.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
I do have one quick follow-up on what you said. So like for the program I'm doing over the summer, I'm doing like the third like part of it. So I won't be back until like less than a week before the fall semester starts. Is there any issue with that considering the deadline, or can like any work happen like virtually as well?
Just means you'll be working even earlier. That's all. No, I you know, tell students all the time. So I was on Zoom years and years and years before there was a global pandemic, because we're used to doing all of this, you know, stuff over the summer. I offer evening office hours throughout the summer because, again, our students are studying abroad. They're doing internships or they're working full time. So I even do application workshops, usually in the evening hours, a lot of times as well. So, you know, I usually say, am I going to 100% be able to accommodate everybody's schedules? No, of course not. But you know, we do quite a lot. So, but I do think, you know, it is important to understand the expectation is, yeah, everybody's going to be busy and doing lots of things over the summer. So this is stuff that you do have to carve out time for, you know, a few hours a week. But yeah, but we'll get you. Yeah. And in fact, most of our graduate students who are applying for Fulbright actually submit their applications several weeks ahead of our campus deadline, just because they turn their attention, you know, to preparing for their own courses, both that they're teaching, you know, working on their research, you know, and the courses that they're taking as well. So, you know, submitting early is certainly not a problem. And Samuel, if you haven't emailed me already to get on like my Fulbright list for this year, make sure you do.
Definitely.
Because I'm hoping to have those info sessions sorted out by middle of next week. Else. All right, well, let's go ahead and end these 10 minutes early, not too terribly early, but I think this was a good productive questions. And Lisa, thank you so